A team that's beaten Spain, Germany, Brazil, and England at Wembley. A striker who scored a hat-trick one week, then dragged his entire nation to the World Cup with a goal in the 88th minute. A defense that conceded nothing, literally 0 goals, across an entire qualifying campaign. And one of the most talented squads in the entire tournament that's reached 3 World Cup finals and never won a single one. Group F is what happens when you put all 4 of them together. On paper, it's the most balanced group at the 2026 World Cup. In reality, it might be the cruelest. The rules are simple: 2 automatic tickets out, plus a shot at 1 more, the wildcard reserved for the best third-place finishers. Which means survival comes down to a single goal, fought for until the final whistle. Look at the rankings and you'd think it's settled. Netherlands 7th, Japan 18th, Sweden 38th, Tunisia 41st. It isn't, because rankings don't measure the things that win World Cup groups: momentum, organization, and a striker in the form of his life. So let's get into it. Start with the team everyone expects to win the group, the Netherlands. On talent alone, the Dutch belong in any conversation. Virgil van Dijk marshalling the back, Cody Gakpo and Memphis Depay up front, Frenkie de Jong gliding through midfield. This is one of the most complete squads in the entire tournament. But there's a ghost that follows this team everywhere. The Netherlands have reached 3 World Cup finals, 1974, 1978, and 2010, and lost every single one. They are the greatest footballing nation to never lift the trophy. That history is a weight, and it has a habit of showing up at exactly the wrong moment. There's a specific weakness, too. For all their attacking talent, the Dutch have a habit of stalling against teams that sit deep and defend in numbers. And guess what this group is full of? Teams that sit deep and defend in numbers. One of their toughest tests comes against Tunisia, a side built entirely on defensive discipline, exactly the kind of opponent that can set the tone for their whole tournament. Favorites? Yes. Safe? Absolutely not. Because waiting for them is the team that's quietly become every giant's nightmare: Japan. Forget the idea of Japan as plucky underdogs. That era is over. This is an elite, almost entirely European-based squad, players from Liverpool, Real Sociedad, Crystal Palace, and Eintracht Frankfurt. And the results back it up. In recent years, Japan have beaten Germany, they've beaten Spain, they've beaten Brazil. And earlier this year, they went to Wembley and beat England 1-0, the first Asian nation to ever do it. Under Hajime Moriyasu, Japan press as a unit, defend with ferocious discipline, and punish mistakes. They reached the round of 16 in the last 2 World Cups, and this squad, the most talented in their history, believes it can finally go further. But there's a wound. Japan's best player, Kaoru Mitoma, the man who scored the winning goal at Wembley, tore his hamstring playing for Brighton and will miss the entire tournament. The hero who dragged them to the brink won't be there for the main event. That's a brutal loss. The man asked to carry the creative load in his place is Real Sociedad's Takefusa Kubo, who said he wants to carry Mitoma's feelings with him onto the pitch. Whether Kubo can shoulder that weight across 3 brutal games might decide Japan's summer. Then there's Sweden, and honestly, Sweden almost didn't make it at all. Their main qualifying campaign was a disaster. They didn't win a single game and finished rock bottom of their group. By rights, they should have been watching this World Cup from home. But their Nations League form handed them a playoff lifeline, and they caught fire. Viktor Gyökeres scored a hat-trick against Ukraine. Then, against Poland, with a dream on the line, he struck in the 88th minute to send Sweden to the World Cup. From dead and buried, to North America, on emotion alone, that's dangerous. And here's the scary part: Sweden have not one, but 2 world-class strikers, Gyökeres and Alexander Isak. Under coach Graham Potter, if both are fit and firing, this is a team that can beat anybody in this group. The if is Isak's fitness, a genuine question mark hanging over their summer. But a Sweden side clicking at the right moment is exactly the kind of team that wrecks a group like this. And finally, Tunisia, the team nobody wants to face on a bad day. Here's a number that should scare everyone in this group. In African qualifying, Tunisia conceded 0 goals, not a single one. They topped their group with a goal difference of +22. This is one of the most disciplined defensive units on the planet. Their problem has always been the other end, scoring enough to win. They've been to 6 World Cups before this and never once escaped the group stage. But in a group this tight, where a single point can mean survival, a team that simply refuses to concede is the most dangerous spoiler of all. And remember, back in 2022, Tunisia finished 3rd in a group with France, Australia, and Denmark, and actually beat the reigning world champions on the final day. They've ambushed giants before, they can do it again. Here's how the drama unfolds. June 14th, the Netherlands vs Japan, in Dallas, the heavyweight opener. June 20th, Japan vs Tunisia, in Monterrey. And on the final day, the Netherlands vs Sweden and Japan vs Sweden, the showdowns that decide everything. That opener, the Netherlands against Japan, is enormous. A favorite that struggles to break down organized teams against the best-drilled pressing side outside the elite. Get that wrong, and the Dutch are instantly in trouble. And then look at the final day. Japan vs Sweden could be a straight shootout for second place. Kubo's creativity against Gyökeres' goals, with a World Cup knockout spot on the line. Ask the experts who gets out of here, and almost all of them agree on one thing: the Netherlands should top the group. After that, total chaos. Some back Japan to take second, some fancy Sweden's strikers, some think Tunisia's wall drags them through on the third-place route. There's a favorite, but there are three teams fighting for what might only be one safe spot. That's not a group, that's a survival contest. That's why Group F is the one to watch, not because of one superstar, but because every team here has a reason to believe and a reason to fear. A Dutch side haunted by finals they couldn't win. A Japan team chasing history without its best player. A Sweden that rose from the dead. And a Tunisia that simply will not break. For teams, 2 guaranteed tickets, and no easy points anywhere. So here's my question for you. Who survives Group F, and which big name do you think crashes out on the final day? Drop it in the comments, I read them. If you want the full group-by-group breakdown before kickoff, this is the series for it. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.